This video is to help analyze graphs that you make when you're looking at rates of reaction. In this here, I want to compare using Google Sheets and using loggerpro. So you can see that I have in here the same set of data already put into both, with the column headings with units and names sorted out. So what do I do if I want to make a graph? In Google Sheets, I think many of you will be familiar with inserting a chart, and we can see that straight away we get a chart that's got a title, it's got nice labels, and so that's worked out really quite well. The title isn't very good, but we could change that later on. The thing with the problem with this is that we want to know about this graph is we want to know the slope of the steepest part. And we can go into Google Sheets and we can add a trend line to the graph. We can do that here. When we add a trend line, we can do that and we can show a label for that with the equation. So you can see that there's an equation in here, and this number 0.137 shows the slope of the graph. But you can probably see straight away that this isn't a great graph because the line covers all of the data and really isn't showing me what's happening in the steepest part of the graph. So I'm going to go over to loggerpro and we'll see how to do the same thing. So we see we've got the data in the same way. The only difference is that the title for this goes into the column heading in a box like this. This helps the program organize the numbers and the units separately. Once I've got the data in, I can insert a graph, and you can see that looks very similar to the graph that I've got from Google Sheets. But you can also see it does level off at the top here, so I think I'd like to make it, I think I'd like to make it so that it shows the bit where it levels off a bit. So I can drag some things around, and that's useful. I can add a straight line to this, and you can see that the straight line is very similar to the one that I got from Google Sheets, and so that isn't really very helpful. So I'm going to get rid of that, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is the bit that I want to have the straight line for. That's the bit where it looks like it's going fastest to me. So I'm going to highlight that, and then I'm going to use the straight linear fit tool, and you can see there that it's added a graph which is very nicely following along that data very closely, just for the steep bit. Now I can go to this box here and I can see that the m, or the slope of this graph, is 0.33 milliliters per second. You can see the units have been added in here correctly so that I know I've got a rate. So that tells me the maximum rate of reaction from this graph very easily. When I'm doing an experiment, I don't want to have hundreds of graphs, so I just want to work out the slope from each graph. But as part of my report, I want to show how I worked out the number, and so it can be useful to add this graph into the report. So what I might do here is I might add in a screenshot of this, making sure that my screenshot includes the labels on each of these different things, and also making sure that my screenshot is clear enough so that I can actually read the numbers in the box. So I hope this has been helpful for how to work out rates of reaction from a graph using loggerpro.